Alright everyone, it's been a hot minute since we did an actual build video on the channel, and quite a while since we've done one of these where I'm just talking about what I've been doing and what's going on. So let's get right into it with a Warlock build, and this is one of the main ones that I've been running this season. Basically anything outside of the dungeon where I've basically just been maining the Arc Titan with the Storm's Keep aspect, then this Warlock build is my absolute go-to. I've been using it in the expert mode for the Nether and the expert mode for the Court of Blades activity in episode Heresy, which I've been running in basically non-stop for a long time to try and get some of the adept weapons, and this has just been doing absolute bits. Now in terms of the setup then, it is a base Chaos Reach Arc Warlock Stormcaller setup, and there's a few things that I've got going on in here in terms of just making it a little bit more viable, turning the notch all the way up and just making it work just absolutely perfectly. Once you get it going, once you get the Rolling Storm going, once you get the Bolt Charge going, once you get all the regeneration coming back from the Ionic Traces, then this build feels pretty much unstoppable. Now hopefully I'm putting some gameplay in the background. It's probably not going to be anything amazing, probably a lot of runs from, like I said, the expert mode from the various activities in episode Heresy. And so yeah, let's just get into it. I mean, I don't really want to dwell on anything. It is what it is in terms of how it works, how it's set up. So let's go into what I think is the main thing in this build, and it's not the Geomag stabilizers, it is actually the Psycho Pomp and the Psycho Pomped Adept, which I have managed to get my greasy mitts on, and I've got one with Threat Detector and Rolling Storm. Now unfortunately this isn't one of the shiny double perk rolls, but it is as close to a perfect adept god roll that I want. I would rather have something like Ambitious Assassin in that third perk column instead, but Threat Detector does okay, especially with the amount of ads that rush you, especially in that Court of Blades activity. Then you can be overwhelmed quite a bit. So with the boost that you get from Amplified as well as Threat Detector, where you're going to get increased reload stability and handling when targets are nearby, then I think it's absolutely fine. So if you don't manage to tie another Psycho Pomp down with Ambitious Assassin, then I think Threat Detector probably your next best thing. However, the main perk that you want to get on this is the Rolling Storm perk. Now, the enhanced one of Rolling Storm is absolutely S tier, as you're going to gain increased Bolt Charge stacks when you have none. Now, we all know that Rolling Storm is basically broken at the minute just due to how it works with the artifact in terms of Bolt Charge, with Dielectric and the Defibrillating Blast and Flashover. Absolutely S tier in terms of how that works, and you know, you're basically going to have Bolt Charge on tap by using this thing, and the ammo economy on it, especially with it being an area denial flame, then you're going to get tons of ammo, you're going to get tons of usage for that ammo, and I think it just is an absolutely perfect weapon at the minute. What makes it even better, especially in Act 2 of episode Heresy, is the Power of Ambition mod. Now if you haven't been using these mods, these fragile mods for episode Heresy, then they're absolutely amazing in my opinion. A lot of people shying away from them, and I think it just opens up the sandbox to just allow you to use a lot of these weapons. They've got anti-champion capability, and they do, you know, I did a little shot on it the other day, they essentially do 25% extra damage all the time because of the nature of the blight rounds that you're going to be able to get, and then on top of that you've got the overcharged nature of it, which is also active in a lot of the end game activities, so you're getting another 25% damage boost. So this thing just absolutely cooks in a ton of content. So if you've got one, or if you've got one of the base versions, chuck this Power of Ambition mod on and you won't go far wrong. Now in terms of everything else that we've got going on with this build, then, you know, I've got the Watchful Eye with Jolting Feedback. I think that's just good for just mowing down a few of the chunkier enemies. It's also got the Power of Resolve mod, which is going to give you that Taken Blight effect, which also deals with unstoppable champions, and just, you know, just helps with the viability in terms of end game content. The other weapon that I've chucked on in this build is the Mirror Imago, which has Pugilist and Sword Logic, again with that Power Ambition to give you them blight rounds, and all this just ties into the artifact. So let's run through what I've got set up in this one so far. We've got the Overclock and Load, which is going to give you Increased handling and reload speed when you have amplified or whether you've got bolt charge, so that's always ticking over. Dielectric, again, you're going to get the bolt charge even more from defeating arc debuffed enemies, which there's going to be tons of them because of the nature of the build and the jolt that we've got going on near on indefinitely with bolt charge and the defibrillating blast. You're also going to get some orbs of power, and you're also going to heal yourself as well with that artifact boost if you've got that one picked up. We've got King's Vestige, which I think is also a great little perk. It's also going to allow you to deal with overload champions with any of your weapons when you're defeating Taken with your weapons of choice. So again, you don't have to use the ones that I've picked, but King's Vestige is going to allow you to basically stun overload champions wherever you want. Flashover is going to make you amplified and get them bolt charge lightning bolts to deal more damage. And then defibrillating blast. Now this one's one that's getting a lot of people stuck, but essentially forget about that first part. The main part is the second part, where it triggers an arc bolt that heals you and jolts combatants that it damages. That's active all times. It doesn't mean that you have to deal with a champion all time. You're going to be jolting enemies with your bolt charge. Now for some of that strand viability, then we've got Unraveling Orbs, which is going to give you unraveling rounds and deal increased damage to strand debuffed enemies, as well as Horde Shuttle, where we're going to be able to, create a few threadlings just to create a bit more chaos out there. Elemental Siphon is absolutely S tier in the Arc Warlock build. Them ionic traces that you're going to generate, especially with that boosted element from the Tome of Want, then you're going to be getting that super back massively quick. And on top of that, Limit Break is going to give you a nice damage boost to it as well. So obviously Chaos Reach is the super of choice, and Geomag Stabilizers are going to give you just absolutely tons of Chaos Reach supers. The main reason for that is obviously the Ionic Traces are going to grant you, I believe it's 7% super energy on collecting them, and with this setup you're going to be creating 2, 3, maybe even 4 or 5 Ionic Traces at one go. The maths is basically just adding up to tons of Chaos Reach supers, and when you're near max stacks of bolt charge, sprinting is going to top that one up as well. So a little bit of a leaning into the Reckoning era of broken and power creep with this setup, and just chuck on some weapon surges to match whatever weapons you've got going on there as well. Let's have a look then at the subclass setup. Obviously Chaos Reach super, we've got the Pulse Grenade, which I think is just great for area denial and also allowing you to jolt targets if you use the relevant fragments. We've got Electrostatic Mind, which is going to allow us to create tons of Ionic Traces, and the brand new Ionic Sentry, which is just absolutely amazing at shutting down areas. If you've got this build going, you're going to have 2, 3, maybe 4 of these things up all at one go. There's not a massive cooldown on it. It's just absolutely perfect. Fragments wise, we've got Spark of Frequency, which is going to increase the amount of bolt charge stacks that you can get. We've also got the Spark of Ions, which is going to just create more Ionic Traces. The Spark of Shock going to allow you to jolt targets with that grenade, and the Spark of Discharge again going to allow you to create tons of Ionic Traces. Like I say, basically a Ionic Trace production line. In terms of mods then, Strand Siphon, Powerful Friends, Radiant Light, really helpful in them endgame activities with your teammates. Fastball, Momentum Transfer, Heavy Handed, not massively required, but can do bits. Put on your resistance mods as you need them. Again, Better Already I think works really well in the Nether. It's going to allow you to just keep that health topped up. Obviously Amplified gives you that 15% damage reduction, but Better Already is going to allow you to keep that health regen going just in case if you're getting into a little bit of a squeaky bum time moment. And then Double Bomber mods, Time Dilation, they're just S tier, and I basically don't change any of them mods on any of my builds at any given point. So there we go, that's it. A quick rundown, a bit of a blabber into the build. For those who want to know, then I've got a bit of a Bungie stream coming up in the next week before the end of March, which is going to be giving away a few of them osmium hair emblems. So if you want to get some of them, then keep your eyes peeled for that one. Looking to do that one next Friday, so hopefully you can jump in and watch. There's going to be a little bit of a race between myself and a few other content creators to see how many bosses we can beat in the Court of Blades expert mode over 5 runs. So if you want to watch some S tier trash gameplay, then you know where to come and look. So thank you very much. I'm going to wrap this one up. Hopefully you found it helpful. Dim link below and all that good stuff. See you next time.